The 2028 race for president has already started, and Kamala Harris will run and win. If you enjoy real political breakdowns and election strategy, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let's get into it. So Axios recently released an article pointing to former Vice President Kamala Harris running again for 2028, and personally, I believe she's going to run again. The article says a lot about Kamala maintaining the public eye. I mean, her book tour for 107 days. Obviously, she's trying to sell her books and everything, but I really believe it's just kind of like a mini campaign, so voters still see her face, and she's talking to voters that maybe voted for Trump and regret their vote now and are considering voting a different way in 2028. So I really think she's doing a lot of good things currently to maintain that public eye. But yeah, despite all the noise online, Kamala is still at or near the top of most early Democratic primary polls for 2028. She continues to have strong support among Black voters, which is a huge voting base in the Democratic Party, specifically in the South. And I think the first primary state in the nation is South Carolina. So her having that momentum in South Carolina will really push her forward in the primaries. And let's be honest, having a huge voting block in the primaries is gonna help her win a lot. So this keeps her in the conversation. So for a while this year, Harris was pretty quiet. But doing this book tour, things really changed. She expanded the book tour for 107 days. She's going to South Carolina, Detroit, Jackson, Memphis, Montgomery. And these aren't random cities. Those are places with huge voting populations that have major influence in the Democratic primary. And if you know how presidential primaries work, you can kind of see what's going on. She's trying to kind of campaign already. At the same time, Harris popped back up inside the Democratic Party too. She and Doug Emhoff, they were at the DNC winter meeting in Los Angeles and spent a lot of time with party leaders and a bunch of different state party chairs. And those are the people that actually matter a lot in each primary. And there was also a moment where DNC chair Ken Martin jokingly introduced Emhoff as a former second gentleman and maybe even a future first gentleman too. So the signs are there. The signs are there. And that joke landed. And it's just showing how she's still very influential in the Democratic Party and how the party's still very comfortable with her. But being honest, the biggest signal came from her speech as well. And there is this one part too. So Harris sounded very differently from what she did last year on the campaign trail. Instead of defending the Biden administration, she actually went straight at the system itself. She said that both parties failed to earn the public's trust, and she said the government doesn't feel like it actually helps people or meets their needs anymore. And she also said that people are really done with the status quo and they really need change. And she even warned Democrats not to get nostalgic about a system that failed people and stop looking back to maybe other successful Democrats or other successful politicians in the past, but moving forward and how she can bring the change. And maybe not even just referencing herself as personally, but just the party as a whole. But kind of thinking back in her mind, she's gonna be the one kind of lead that change, if that makes sense. And people in the room picked up on it. And after the speech, Democratic committee members told Axios they wanted her to run again in 2028. And at one point, Harris was talking about the future and someone yelled out "you," and it wasn't staged. It was genuine. So her team is still being careful. Her spokesperson says Harris is focused on listening to voters and thinking about where leadership has fallen short and kind of trying to help Democrats win back the House and the Senate in 2026. But there's no official announcement, but she's still she's not out the public eye. So Harris also spoke at the United Farm Workers Gala, and she also got a really strong reaction there too. Union members from places like Oxnard, Salinas, and Modesto, they were really excited to see her and felt like she's there fighting for them still. And this is kind of that grassroots excitement and support that matters a lot in a primary. And obviously she's not the only Democrat thinking about 2028. It's very obvious too. Gavin Newsom, he's gonna run. He was in Los Angeles too, meeting with party officials. J.B. Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, he raised over $1 million at a DNC fundraiser, but he didn't show up to the actual DNC meeting, so that's interesting. That everyone's still positioning themselves for their future in the Democratic Party, and a lot of their futures really are going for that present spot. So polling wise, Kamala Harris is actually doing really well in the polls. In a lot of polls, she's polling higher and maybe even around number one and number two, compared to different candidates that haven't put their names in the ring yet, but are likely going to run. She's doing narrowly better than Newsom in a matchup against Vice President Vance. However, in New Hampshire, she is trailing Newsom and Buttigieg in a few recent polls. But to be fair, polls still, although they do have some sort of an impact in the election, This early on, there's still a lot of things to see in the future. So right now I have a blank 2028 map, and right now I'm going to show you what I personally believe. This isn't like official or anything, it's just what I personally believe. So first off, I'm going to go with the states that are going to be safe for Kamala Harris. These states are consistently Democrat, shouldn't have any problem here. All across the West Coast, Colorado, New Mexico, going down to Hawaii, part of the Rust Belt too, and then in the East Coast, these states, Kamala Harris is going to win by a pretty safe margin. So moving on to the states won by JD Vance. These states are very conservative. JD Vance should win by a pretty safe margin as well. Nothing's really going to be changing from now to 2028. So that's all across the middle of the state or middle of the country, all these states. So JD Vance will not have a problem here in these states. Moving on to the likely states for Harris, that's going to include Nevada and Arizona. And then for JD Vance, it's going to be Ohio and Florida. And also main statewide is going to go to Harris by a safe margin as well. I forgot to put that down earlier. And then for the total states, I'm going to put Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia. And now I'm just going to fill in the rest of Nebraska and Maine. So for Nebraska's second district is going to go to Kamala Harris, excuse me. And then the first district for Vance, statewide for Vance. And then for Maine, the first district for Harris and the second district for Vance. So this is my final map prediction for Kamala Harris versus JD Vance. Kamala Harris is going to finish out with 319 electoral votes, making her president-elect of the United States, while JD Vance is going to finish off with 219 electoral votes. Let me know down in the comments below if you agree or disagree, or if you think I should change anything. And also, let me know down in the comments if you have any other candidates you would like me to make a video on, and what you think my map will be for that candidate. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.